As Professor Turnbull has just said, I'm Jane Newman. I think quite a few of you know me. I'm the physiotherapist that works in the clinic here at in Newcastle. I'm sharing this platform with Paula, a dietitian who's recently joined the team, and so my talk will be considerably shorter than Dr. Schaefer's, who always seems to like to overrun. No surprise there. Obviously, in 10 minutes, I can't explain every aid and adaptation available to people with mitochondrial disease, so I've tried to kind of group it. So I've grouped it into little sections: mobility aids, aids around the house or daily living, communication aids, the big thing of home adaptations, which one of my friends and patients here today said, if you need an adaptation, start 2 years before you need it. That was her words of wisdom, and I'm sure there's other people in the room who concur. And then just a little bit about funding and the problem with funding. So I'll start with mobility aids because I'm a physiotherapist and hopefully I do know a bit about that. The NHS website has got a nice page about wheelchair services and mobility aids, so it gives a brief overview of what is available to people. And as the picture can show, there's many different types of mobility aids that come in all shapes and sizes, various colours. Some are available on the NHS and through social services, some are not. I think there's a lovely lady at the front who's got like a Diamante walking stick that definitely isn't available on the NHS. But the thing to think about, the words of wisdom I suppose I'm trying to impart, is that if you do want a walking aid, or you think you need a walking aid, or you need a splint or a wheelchair, is always make sure that you either see me or a local physiotherapist or occupational therapist or district nurse, because they do come in so many different shapes and sizes, and you want to make sure the one you get is suitable for you. We had one of our patients who we thought, the picture in the top right hand corner on both sides is really lovely. We thought it was great because it's a wheelchair that's got motorised wheels, so it's a standard wheelchair. You need very little activity to push this wheelchair, and then the electric motor kicks in and then it takes you away. So for people with muscle weakness or fatigue, we thought this was brilliant. But then on talking to the person, I think the wheels are now in a shed, because she actually found that actually by pushing it, the speed that was generated by the motor scared her to death. So she couldn't use it. So it's very important to seek advice. I suppose they're my parting wisdom. The nice little city standy wheelchair that the lady in the middle's there, that is definitely not available on the NHS, but I know there are ways that people have managed to get funding, which we'll talk to about the end. So activities of daily life, there's hundreds of aid and adaptations for people who've got problems with their hearing, people who've got problems with their sight, all manner of devices. And again, my words of advice is seek professional advice before you buy. Okay, some of it you can get on the health service or through social services, through your occupational therapy service in the community, but some of it you will have to purchase yourself. And it's nothing more annoying than purchasing something that actually when you get it out of the box is of no value to you. So do ask for advice. When it comes to communication aids, as we've already said, we've got Alison, who's just started with us as a speech and language therapist, and she has some knowledge of communication aids. I have a little knowledge of communication aids, but in your area there should be a centre of specialism for looking at communication aids. So, and also there's lots of devices nowadays, like the iPad and the iPhone, that they're devices that everybody can use, but actually can help people with problems with sight or touch, that can help them use these devices. So it's very, you don't always need something specialist. There are things on the mass market, And there's also like covers you can put to your iPad so they're easier to hold, or stands you can put them in. You can get bigger font, you can get voice recognition. So you don't always need specialist devices. The big phone on the right-hand side has flashing alarms, or you can have vibration pads set up to it so that if you can't hear the phone, you still know that the phone is ringing. And I was told by my colleague in London, because there's a physiotherapist who works there as well, that actually the Institute for the Blind have got a brilliant shop just next to Queen Square in London. They've got all these gadgets in, so next time you're on a tourist trip to London, add that onto your itinerary, because apparently it's brilliant. When we're talking about home adaptations, obviously the message is a bit different, because a lot of you will have to have advice or be assessed to see whether you qualify for those adaptations, how much it's going to cost, how much you're going to have to pay, how much the services will pay for it, what you're allowed, what your needs are. It goes on and on and on. And I suppose my words of wisdom for this one is just have patience. It is a lengthy procedure. There are lots of forms to fill in. And sometimes the white NHS grab rail that you are provided with doesn't look that nice. And if you want to go and buy your own that looks nicer, then that's fine. But it's always worth seeking the advice so that you get the rail put in the right place. So the Muscular Dystrophy campaign also have a lovely website talking about grants for adaptations of houses. So I'm not going to go into great details about the process, because it's different everywhere you go, and so you'll just have to explore it. I know there's people in the audience who've had adaptations done to their houses, and if they want to share some information with other people, that would be great. And there's a gov.uk that also gives you all the information about where you should apply for grants and adaptations. The Muscular Dystrophy campaign also has a website, on their website, a page about getting grants for equipment, because as I said, some equipment can be provided, other equipment can be very expensive, but there are grants available through the Muscular Dystrophy campaign. This one called Joseph Patrick that particularly looks at wheelchairs and communication devices. And also there's one on the Lilly website as well, where they provide specialist funding for certain adaptation aids. So just to wrap it up, I know it's a bit of a whirlwind tour, and please, if anybody has some questions about particular aid adaptations that they want to come talk to me, please do so, but I couldn't cover everything in 10 minutes. The main advice is always get assessed, seek professional advice. It's different where you are. I've been to wheelchair services with a few patients to argue their case, which that's what it usually is, an argument about their case. So, because often they don't understand that fatigue's a major problem, and why do you need this wheelchair? You can push it 10 yards, you don't qualify for one. So there's a bit of battle to be had, and I'm happy to have that battle. Also check out what is available locally. Different areas provide different things. I can't say that you're entitled to this or that, because it does vary across the country. If you're going to buy it, if you can try it before you buy it, try it, because often what looks great in a catalogue isn't what you need. And finally, just to think about when you do buy aids and adaptations, especially probably more relevant to the paediatric community, is that people grow, people change, so you need to think about how long this is going to last you before forking out a lot of money for something. So that's all I really wanted to say. So if anybody's got questions, that was my whirlwind tour of aids and adaptations. Oh, and there's some websites.
Thank you very much, Jane. I think the key thing is always seeking advice, and I think one of the things is that if you find you're getting difficulty getting information or having problems discussing these things, is to make sure that when you come to clinic, that you make sure that you ask in clinic, because Jane's almost always there, and even if we can't help, Jane often spends quite a lot of time ringing up your local services to try and help. So there's always plenty of ways in which you can help.
And also, I also work quite a lot with Rosemary, writing statements for why people should be entitled to various things. So, you know, it is important that you share with us if you need something or you think you might want something. We can advise you and help you make the right decisions, or basically fight your battles for you, because I know, especially wheelchairs, which is a bit of a bugbear for me, then it is a battle.
Yes, and I think it's a good point that many people that are making the decisions on funding have never heard of the word mitochondrial, have never heard of mitochondrial disease, which is why it is such a battle. And if fatigue is a major issue, as it is, as we know, then people aren't aware of that. So again, whatever we can do, and I think for many people in this room, we do write letters which are extremely helpful in making sure that people get what really they deserve.